What is up, meal prepping family? It's Bobby, and today we are gonna make some hella delicious, clean eating meal prep that is tasty, easy to make, and crunchy and creative. Just because you're eating clean doesn't mean you have to skimp on flavor, and today is a prime example of that. So I hope you're ready for a shrimp and curry meal prep. Creamy coconut curried lentils with peppers and onions and ginger, served with spice crusted shrimp, and a sugar snap pea and peanut crunch slaw. So listen, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, just do it. We are rocking out the best meal prepping on YouTube that is healthy and creative every Friday morning, and I want you to be a part of the Flav City community. All right, to get the coconut curried lentils rocking, I'm preheating my designated Bing pot over medium high, and in front of me I have 1 onion and 1 green poblano pepper. Now, is a poblano pepper traditional in Indian food? No, but the first time I made this on Instagram stories, I had it in my fridge and I put it in and it was the bomb. So we can just call this Bobby's gringo version of curry, but it's money, trust me. So let's go in with about a couple teaspoons of grapeseed oil and then add the veggies. And then pinch in about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Give that a little mix up. And then what goes in next is very traditional. I have some mustard seeds here. Go ahead and add about a teaspoon. And I have to thank Shaheen and Amit. They're 2 of my biggest fans over on the Flav City Facebook page. Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Chicago time, we do Facebook Lives, and they tune in and they told me about that tip, and the mustard seeds just bloom and add a lot of flavor. So if you haven't checked that out yet, come on over. We cook live in real time. It is a blast. The veg has been cooking for a good 8 minutes. Now next up, I'm going with garlic and ginger. But instead of cutting my ginger and then maybe having a big piece of it later on, what I like to do is just peel it with a spoon and then grate it on my microplane grater. That way it's nice and fine. I need about a teaspoon total. Add that to the pot along with 3 cloves of garlic that are finely minced. And the garlic and the ginger burn easily. That's why I gave the onion such a head start. All right, next up is curry powder. Now I'm not just using any curry powder, I'm using one that has a lot of turmeric in there, so it's nice and vibrant and yellow. This is Madras curry powder, but you can also use Muchi or Colombo. I'll go ahead and add a good tablespoon. Now I teased massive flavor earlier. This is the reason why. I'm gonna add a shot of grapeseed oil on top of that curry powder, and I'm gonna cook it for a good 1 minute. And what that does is the essential oils in the spices, they bloom, and the flavor goes from here to next level, and it's unbelievably flavorful. As soon as that curry powder hits the pot, it smells like little Mumbai up in this kitchen, you guys. All right, gonna let that cook for a couple minutes. And then next up, I have a 1.25 cups of yellow lentils that I just rinsed under the water. So go ahead and add those to the pot. And I actually wanna cook it with all the spices and oil in there for about a minute, because this is the same technique I do with rice. It's called toasting the rice or toasting the lentils. All the ingredients in the curry powder kind of come together as one, and you're just building even more flavor and more flavor. All right, while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna get my cooking liquids together in the form of 1 can of full-fat coconut milk and a few cups of water. Please do not be using low-fat coconut milk. Full fat will make the body and the texture so creamy in this curry, you won't even know what hit you. So now let's add 1 can of the coconut milk. That's how you know it's full fat. When there's a huge hunk of cream on the top, that is money. And then let's add some of the water. Now remember, the coconut milk and the water is bland, so go ahead and pinch in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then the last part is really, really cool. When I made this the first time on my Instagram stories, which by the way, if you're not following me over there, get on it. Every single night, I'm snapping what I'm doing in this kitchen, and it's a lot of fun. But I thought, how can I get more of those kind of Indian flavors in there without being too overpowering? So I just happen to have a few extra empty tea bags in my pantry, and I happen to have some cinnamon, some cloves, and some cardamom pods, spices that are really, really common in Indian cooking, and I'm just gonna steep them like I would a tea. I'm a chaiwali. This is the culinary chaiwali making this gringo style dal. How about that, baby? So let's go ahead and add 1/2 stick of cinnamon, 1 of the cardamom pods that are slightly crushed, and 1 of the cloves. And then drop the bag in the pot. Give that pot a stir up, and come on, you guys, look at the color in that pot. I like to call that edible yellow mandala. It is gonna be so visually stunning and just so darn good. All right, while I wait for that to come to a boil, this video, you guys, is sponsored by RX bars. You need to get on these protein bars because I love to crush these after the gym. They have 12 grams of protein, and most importantly, just like this recipe, they're huge on flavor, which is saying a lot for protein bars because a lot of them are not good. But my favorite part of the RX protein bars is the front of the packaging. 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates, and no BS. The core ingredients are right there to see it. There's no ingredients on the back that I can't pronounce. Plus, the RX protein bars have no added sugars, preservatives, or artificial colors or flavors. They come in 11 delicious varieties. You can eat them after the gym, before the gym, as a snack, on the plane, and I have a 25% off Flav City promo code down in the description box. Click the link, check them out. They are really, really good. So for 25% off your first order, go to rxbar.com/FlavCity and use the code FlavCity. Pot o' beans is boiling. Let's slap down a lid and set a timer for 30 minutes. All right, bean pot is in the back. Now think about it. We obviously have monster flavor going here, but we also want monster texture. And the lentils are creamy. The shrimp is kind of soft too, so we need massive flavor. So if you're like me, click that thumbs up if you're on #Team Crunch, because I have been there my whole life, and we're gonna make a sugar snap pea peanut crunch slaw to go on top. So I have these sugar snap peas right here. To make them look like matchsticks, go ahead and cut them on the bias. That way they're nice and long and crunchy. And then add them to the bowl. And then cut a red bell pepper the same size. To up the crunch even more, shake in some roasted unsalted peanuts. Finely slice half a red chili for some heat. Whack a lime in half and add the juice of half a lime. Add a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a few cracks of black pepper. And give it a nice mix up. Crunchy, a little spicy, and really zippy. That on top of the lentils is gonna be so fresh and #crunchy, it's gonna be loco and gringo. All right, you guys, let's check out the beans back here. It's been about 20 minutes, and you can see it's still nice and saucy. The beans are starting to blossom a little bit, but I want this to get thicker and reduce some of that liquid in here. So I'm gonna let this cook with the lid off for the remaining 10 or 15 minutes. In the meantime, we can get cracking on the shrimp. So in front of me, I have 1 pound of peeled tail-on shrimp. I love serving shrimp that have the tail on there. I just think it's classy AF. I'm gonna preheat a large cast iron pan over medium-high heat. And for seasoning, I'm going really, really simple, and I'm using my favorite spice ever, smoked paprika, because also not only is the flavor legit, but it's gonna make the shrimp red on top of yellow curry, on top of green and red slaw. That's probably one of the flags of the Olympic Games right now. I just don't know which one. So go ahead and shake in 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, pinch in half a teaspoon of salt, then glug in a couple teaspoons of grapeseed oil, and then mix up everything until it's well combined. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of oil to my preheating cast iron pan. And for high heat cooking like the shrimp, avocado oil or grapeseed oil are perfect. Olive oil, not so much. All right, I'm only gonna cook half of these at a time because I don't wanna overcrowd the pan. I want these shrimp to get super, super crusty. Make sure you space the shrimp out evenly. Make sure you do yourself a favor and put down the splatter guard to prevent oil from going everywhere. And I forgot to mention that I patted the shrimp dry with a couple paper towels. Moisture is the enemy to making really crispy shrimp. 2 minutes on the first side and then I'll flip them. Beautiful. The spices in the hot cast iron pan just form the most beauty crust. I'm doing honestly 1 minute on the second side because overcooked shrimp tastes horrible and it happens a lot quicker than you think. One more shot of oil in the pan and the remaining shrimpies. And guys, you could also do this with chicken breast, chicken thighs, pork chops, another seafood, anything you want. But it's all about those little tips of building flavor and making a crust with spices, hot cast iron pan, blooming the curry powder. Little things like that will make you an absolute boss in the kitchen. All right, you guys, last of the shrimps are out, and oh gosh, if there was ever a time for smell-o-vision, now is the time. Let me push these aside, and then I'm gonna grab my lentils, which I just took off the heat, And check this out. This is the consistency you want. It's reduced considerably, but it's still nice and saucy and creamy. Let's add a squeeze of lime juice just to wake up all the flavors. And if you're one of the people who keep telling me they're looking for low sodium recipes, adding lime juice or citrus or acid or vinegar at the end is a great way to wake up or brighten the flavors without adding another pinch of salt. And by the way, just in case you don't have the tea bag and want to do the steeping thing, add a pinch of cinnamon, cloves, and cardamom. I will put the full info down in the recipe, which is in the description box. We are done. All I have to do is plate up and insert in my pie hole. Add a big old scoop of lentils to a bowl, and then top it with some of the crunchy snap pea slaw, a few shrimp, and then add some more peanuts for crunch, a few sliced chilies, and some parsley for garnish. Dude, oh my gosh, the lentils are a flavor bomb. Little spicy, little sour, creamy. Then you get that crunchy, acidic slaw on top. Wow, the combo of that crunchy and creamy is money. Now, the shrimps, right? Perfectly spiced. Seasoning is money, and juicy shrimp that only took a couple minutes. And the tail on, you can pinch that tail meat in there. Wow, you guys, absolutely delicious. Now, I only have a pound of shrimp here because shrimp only last in the fridge 3 days cooked. So I'll make some more fresh shrimp later in the week, or you can make more and freeze it. But when you freeze shrimp, they get kind of rubbery. I'm not a huge fan. But it's entirely up to you because down below in the description box is the recipe, the reheating, the storage instructions. So all you have to do is shower me with love and subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and loved ones. If you want to see 2 more pretty epic meal preps, they are streaming below me right now. But I'll see you next Friday like I always do. Until then, hashtag keep on cooking, mad love.